Welcome back to Slothbox. I'm Lyndon Dixon, joined again by one of my favourites, Jordan Gill. Jordan, how are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm all good. How are
Good.
you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. The last time we spoke, it was a couple months back, and it was just after the loss to Kiko Martinez. How do you feel now you've had some time to sit on it a little bit?
I feel good. I'm just raring to go. Just been, sitting around waiting for a date to come along. So just excited to get back in there and just wanna put the wrong right and just prove that I'm at a high level and just look forward to fighting. So I've been training hard. I've been working hard. Been getting some good rounds in the gym.
Mm.
So yeah, just been looking forward to fighting.
Well, I just want to touch a little bit more on that loss because you've lost before in your career, but each loss, I think, presents a different challenge because obviously you're at a different stage if you lose more than once. But I was just wondering how the loss has affected you mentally. Has it been easy to move on from, or has it been something that, has been at the back of your mind a little bit?
I think it's always going to be at the back of your mind because if it doesn't, if it's not, then I don't think you're a serious competitor because as a athlete that competes at a high level and wants to be the best, like no one can live with a loss and just move on from it easily.
Yeah.
So it's something I've had to process, something that I've had to work on and assess and work on the mistakes that I made in the fight and put it right in and out of the ring. So
Mm.
I think mentally uh, I'm over it in as far as I can be just to push on and get the next fight in. But I think I've made improvements since, and after I lost to Tinoco, you saw a lot of improvements. My game tightened up a lot, um, and this will be the same. I'll be a better fighter from it.
Mm. But now we're at the point where it's time to rebuild. And looking at your Instagram, you've been in the gym nearly every day. How's the comeback journey going so far? How are we feeling at the minute?
Do you know what? I'm feeling the best I've felt in a long time. In like the last couple of years ago, it's been like every day's been a battle, just trying to get through the day and
Mm.
get to the end of the week. And now I just feel like I've got a new lease of life. It's like a weight's lifted off my shoulders. I moved up to super feather, and it's suiting me so much better. Obviously, I've not made the weight yet, but I just feel a lot better fighter. I think certain times you see fighters move up and they go on a good run, and I think that's what we're gonna have. So I've been in the gym every day, like I said, just been working on my craft and working on mistakes that I make and putting them right. So
Mm.
not only working on mistakes, working on my strengths as well, and trying to make them super strengths. So I'm I've been in the gym, since Christmas, just working and working and working. I've got a week. I'm going to Italy tomorrow to spar. I've been asked to go out and spar in Italy, in Rome. So I'm going out there tomorrow
Mm.
for the week. So that'll be good. Good little change of scenery,
Yeah.
and looking forward to getting some good rounds in. So I'll be sparring like 12 rounds now. So I'm ready to go into a good fight.
Mm. Well, I mentioned before how each loss presents a different challenge. Well, now I'm not sure if many people know, but you're a free agent promotionally. You're not with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom anymore. Firstly, was that a joint decision? Did you both decide that's the best thing? And secondly, is there any movement with what's next in terms of who you're going to be with promotionally?
Mean, there's no movement next, and it's not like it was a joint decision. It was just a case where the contract come to an end,
Mm.
and it's not like we've parted ways and won't work together again. It's more the case that I'm sure they'll want to work with me, but they want the biggest fights possible. So they if they want to work with me, they'll put me in the biggest fights. So
Mm.
it might be the case that we re-sign with Matchroom and I'll fight on a Matchroom show next, or it might be another promoter. It just depends who's got the best plan and who can give me what I need,
Mm.
and vice versa as well. It's a business, in it. I've got to provide value and serve they. So
Mm.
I think it's interesting, like the landscape in boxing at the moment. There's a lot of competition with promoters. Obviously,
Yeah.
boxers doing well. Eddie Earn's doing well. We got Wasserman as well. Frank Warren's, putting on good shows. So there's a lot of different competition. I love boxing on Eddie shows. I love boxing on Matchroom shows. I feel like it's the place to be, and every time they've looked after me, I've enjoyed it. So I'm hoping that we can work together again, and
Mm.
we'll see what the future presents. But there's no immediate plans.
Yeah,
Um, there's no immediate plans and no immediate fight dates lined up. So I'm just making sure that when the call comes, I'll be ready.
exactly. But in all my videos, I ask the fighter what's next. But I feel like for you, this one's a real interesting one. Is it? Are you looking for an easier opponent at this new weight? Are you looking for your best mate Isaac Lowe? What's next for Jordan Gill?
I mean, I'll have Isaac Lowe next. I think
Mm.
Dave is my manager, and he makes the plan, and I think his plan of action is to have an 8 rounder, not against like an easy opponent, but obviously it's going to be a step down from world level that I
Yeah,
boxed that last time out. And rightly so. I think sometimes you need to build a bit of momentum back, and an 8 rounder against a lesser opponent, but still a good opponent, will
yeah,
be something that we'd do that with. So I think that's probably the plan now, just to get an 8 rounder, see where we can slot one in, where we can get a slot in an 8 round, and then go straight into a big fight, whether that's Isaac Lowe or someone else. We'll see. But Isaac Lowe is a fight that I want, and I'm sure a lot of people want it as well. So
yeah.
it's a mouth-watering one. I think it's a fight that will capture the imagination of the public, and one that I'll grab with both hands.
Mm. Just moving on from yourself, I wanted to talk about your actual good friend Lee Wood. He's got the rematch against Lara. I was just wondering, first of all, how do you think that's going to go? But what does Lee Wood need to do this time round to make sure that he wins?
Well, I think sometimes in boxing you can be billed like it can be billed as such a hard fight, and it was a hard fight. Like, even though every round Lee was apart from the second, I had Lee winning every round. So
Mm.
he was I felt like he was dominating, but every one of them rounds was tough rounds. Everyone, there was posed a threat, but I think he got into that much of a rhythm where he he just sort of switched off a little bit, and held his feet a bit too long and just got caught with that big left hook. So um, that could happen again. That could happen earlier. It could happen later. But for me, Lee had the game plan right. Ben Davis and Lee Wiley and everyone at the gym had the game plan right. Though he was winning the fight and he was boxing great. He just switched off for a second. And that's all it takes. That level.
Yeah,
Lara is a monstrous puncher, and he can switch anyone's lights off at any time. He could probably, knock out Thomas the Tank Engine like a
yeah,
full blown steam train. He punches that hard, so it's just one of the things. It's just one of the things he switched off, and I know he'll want to put that right, and I'm sure he will do. So
mm,
I think it's going to be a great fight. I said to Lee, Lee knows what he needs to do. He like, I don't need to ever give him any advice, but one thing I did say to him, like, it looked like Lara probably had another couple rounds left. He was getting a bit of a pacing, like, as much
yeah,
as and Lara won the fight, but he was taking some bombs in there, and Lee can punch as well. So um, to me, it looked like he was getting frustrated, and he was Lee was hurting him as well. So for me, I thought Lara probably had another couple more rounds of trying, like he was, and before he fell apart. But now, after what happened in the first fight, because it was one sided, and Lee, he got to Lee in the end. No matter whether it's the first round or the 12th round, Lara will still be there.
yeah,
He won't fade now, because whereas it looked like before he had another couple of rounds before he sort of started to deteriorate and melt a little bit. This time he won't melt, because once you can knock someone out, or once you can hurt someone, you're always going to be there, and especially that tough Mexican mentality. So um, Lee's gonna have to be switched on for 12 rounds, and I think he will do, and he'll get it right, and put that wrong right, and become world champion again.
mm. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the Anthony Joshua situation at the minute. I mean, he fought Franklin a couple of weeks back, and it weren't his best performance, but no one was expecting that with his new trainer. But he posted on his story a little while ago that his next fight will be in December. Do you think that that's the right move, or what do you think of that whole situation? Because for me, unless he's injured, I don't get why that would be the plan.
Yeah, it's hard to know without all the facts. It's hard to comment on it, isn't it? I think Anthony Joshua is a great fighter. He's done amazing in the sport. He's won it all. We all want to see him in big fights, and fights like Fury and Joyce and Wilder and all those guys. they're the fights that everybody wants to see. So at this stage of his career, I'd like to see him more active. I think boxing in general, like we all need to be more active. We all need to be
Mm.
fighting minimum 3, 4 times a year. It's I think it's inactivity is a big killer, and I'd like to see him fight in the summer and then fight in December. But like I said, it's hard to know without knowing all the ins and outs. He might be injured. He might have some personal problems, whatever. So it's easy for us to sit around and say, "Oh, you should fight. Come on, give the fans what they want," but
Mm.
you don't know what's going on, do you? So,
Mm.
if that's his choice, then albeit, and he might want more time to gel with his new coach. He might want a little bit of time off after criticism. You never know.
Yeah.
But as long as we see a good version of Anthony Joshua in December, I'll be happy waiting. But personally, I'd like to see him fight in the summer and then December.
Mm. Well, last question from me, but it's back to you. Where do you see yourself come the end of the year? Because, like we mentioned, you're a free agent, you're at a new weight, and the we're not even halfway through yet. So, where do you see yourself come the end of the year?
I mean, personally, I'd love 3 fights this year. Obviously, a big chunk of the year is gone already. We're 4 months in,
Mm.
so 3 fights is realistic. I'd like to have an 8 rounder in the next month or two, and then push on, get a title fight, and then maybe another back into an eliminator back into the year. So you
Mm.
know, this at the end of the year, I'd like to be where I was this time last year.
Mm.
Knocking on the door for a shot at a big title, a major title. So where or who that'll be against, I'm not sure. But you've got to take one at a time. You can't get too ahead of yourself in this game because it's like snakes and ladders. It's a slippery. It's
Mm.
a long way up. It's a long way down. It's a quick way down. So boxing's always like snakes and ladders, and you've got to be kind on your way up because you'll meet on your way down as well. So
Exactly.
it's a crazy sport, and it's not even a sport, is it? It's a business. But that's a different story.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
move
save
on.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
But, mate, as usual, it's a pleasure to speak to you. I've been Lyndon Dixon. It's been Jordan Gill, and we'll see you on the next one.
nice one, mate.